to Cincinnati. Welcome to the jungle. Let's go. Stripes, 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 yeah. Stripes, 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 yeah. Stripes, 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 yeah. Orange in the day, black in the night. Stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly. The beast is awake, orange, black and white. Cause when the jungle come alive, who day we ignite and Cincinnati, we gon' rise and in the jungle we unite and dripping orange and black and white. Who day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Wake up the beast, every day is a feast. Time to bust it off the leash. In the jungle dripping heat, tigers strike the city streets. East side stand up, west side stand up. If you reppin' who day, time to put your hands up. Dingle stripes, we in it. New day, new age, yeah, we get it. Cincinnati jungle fitted. Who day in our house, we win it. Orange and black and white, we build it. Earn our stripes, you know we kill it. Bleed our colors, jungle dripping. Nasty, natty, yeah, we live it. Lit the crowd, get the city loud. Yeah, we feasting now. Fit the pounce, make the city howl. Now we beastin' now. Thunder through the tunnel, from the sideline to the huddle. Stripes we tatted on the jungle when we flex that who they muscle on them. Stripes, Cincinnati, we gon' rise and in the jungle we unite and dripping orange and black and white. Who day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Stripes. Now who gotta move like it on? Stripes. Now who wanna move dancing on? Stripes. Now who wanna move on? If you got stripes and you let the city know you rock them, yeah we got them, yeah we fought them. Like that black and orange upon them, bingo bottom, never stopping till the beast of feasting on them. Who they rockin' with the diamond stripes, flossing on the ring. Cincinnati, she's our queen, we gon' show the world who king. Orange in the day, black in the night. Stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly. The beast is awake, orange, black and white. Cause when the jungle come alive, who day we ignite and Cincinnati, we gon' rise and in the jungle we unite and dripping orange and black and white. Who day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Now who gotta move like it on? Now who wanna move dancing on? Now who wanna move on? Who day when we fight, live and die in these stripes.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the show. This is Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm your host, the Iceman, Jeff Trunapole. And as always, I'm bringing you sports from a West Side point of view right here in the great city of Cincinnati, Ohio, home of Jackpot Joey Burrow and the AFC North champion Cincinnati Bengals. Now, do me a favor, if you found the show, hit that like and subscribe button. Smash that thumbs up. I'm all the way up to 1,536 subscribers. That is awesome. As always, I appreciate every single one of you guys. Now, if you're watching on Facebook or Twitter and you have yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so. Please go to the YouTube channel, Sports with Strawberry Ice. Hit the subscription button, hit the bell for the notification, and every time I go live, you'll be notified. Also, exclusively in the YouTube chat crew, we're doing super chats. So if you'd like to make sure your comment gets read or you like to support what I'm doing, please give me a super chat. I would greatly appreciate it. And as always, we're coming to you live from the Ice Cave. And the Ice Cave is brought to you by T Properties. T Properties, quality housing for quality people. Check out their website at www.tpropertiesllc.com for all your rental property management needs and your rental needs. What's up, everybody? What's going on? It's almost the weekend. It's Friday. What's going on, everybody? The chat crew. What's up, Foxy, Richard, Rabbit's in there, Joe. What's going on? Little light in the chat crew today, but it's all right, because, well, there's not a whole lot going on, but, we always find something to talk about. And for that, I always have to bring on really good guests. And one of my favorite guys to bring on is Blake Jewell. He's a great follow on Twitter. He writes for all, I'm pretty sure it's all Bengals. I'll have to make sure that's right when I ask you, but pretty sure it's all Bengals. He does a great job on his draft guide or not his draft guide, but his draft analysis and everything, and all things Bengals. So make sure you follow Blake Jewell. Let's get to Blake. Blake, what's going on, brother?
Hey, what's up?
Oh, just living a dream here, trying to do a podcast every single day. So some days are harder than others. Today's one of those days because there's not a whole lot of news going on. We had this great week, of the Bengals signing all the free agency and everything, and now it's kind of like we had this high, like, yeah, okay, all right, now what? So
Yeah,
I think we move on to the draft, and what are the Bengals going to do at 31? It's kind of where I'm at.
yeah, and I as soon as Collins was signed, but I gave it about an hour, and I was like, all right, it's time to go to the draft. So, but I've been looking at that. I've been doing a lot of mock drafts. Over at All Bengals, here soon. I'm gonna start doing the draft profiles, going over all the players in depth and everything like that. So that should be coming soon. I hope to get all the options for the first round, second round. Then I'm gonna do some, fourth through seventh rounders, some sleeper prospects and stuff like that. So I hope to get a ton done over there.
That's awesome. Now you do write for All Bengals, right? That's
Yes,
okay.
that's
Yeah.
right.
I thought it was. I thought you James. So James Rapine actually your boss? Is that technically how that works?
Yeah, I think that would be the term. I guess.
Oh my
I've
goodness!
just said the
How
editor.
how is James as a boss? Like I said, we got enough to talk about. How's James Rapine as a boss? Is he okay? Is he as fun loving as he seems in real life? Which he is. I know he is. I've met him.
Yeah, it's like I like how he does things. It's just pretty. I've been like with other places, and with him, it's just, oh, I got an idea for an article. Send the text. He says okay, and then I email him the article, and pretty simple. So I like how
There
he
you
does
go.
things there.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So all right, let's get to 31 here, and with the Bengals completely fixing their offensive line, which I'm still ecstatic about. I don't know about you, but the more the mock drafts that I've done, for some reason, none of the defensive tackles or linemen or the offensive linemen that I think the Bengals would be interested never dropped to us in this. Now that could happen, in the real draft. I don't know, but that's where I'm always leaning toward. I think it might be a cornerback is where we might be going at 31 because it is a need. We do need to get a number 2 cornerback. What's your thought process right now at 31 from the mock drafts that you've done?
Yeah, I think it's going to need to be corner, just based on who I think will be there. Kaiir Elam and Andrew Booth are my 2 favorites. I think they got to be the ones that you take there if they're available. And the thing also is there's a lot of good players in this draft, but there's kind of just a little kind of gray area where I like these guys. I'm not sure if I'm comfortable taking them at 31. Guys like that would be like Logan Hall, defensive tackle, just some guys like that. So I think that 31, ideally, it's going to be a corner. And another thing that helps that cause is, well, as I'm looking through mock drafts in the second round, there's not really any corners that I'm comfortable with taking in the second round, unless someone would fall from the first. And then the third round, there's some corners that I might consider. Kobe Bryant's one. I would take him in the third round depending on what happens before. But I think after the first round, there's still good corners, but it's kind of a gray area where you take these guys. And I think that, like you said, I do think the offensive line is fixed, but if someone like Kenyon Green is there at 31,
yeah,
I would do that as well because I personally think if he's there, he's probably the best player available. And in terms of defensive tackles, DeMarvin Leal is a name that I really like. If he's there at 31, he's someone else I would consider. And then from there, it gets a little, like I've been saying, gray areas. Just guys like Logan Hall, who I think would be great, but I don't know if I'm comfortable taking him at 31. So I think the ideal scenario would be get Elam or Booth at 31.
What do you think about, you like Booth from Clemson? Okay.
Oh yeah, I like him a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
I think if he's there at 31.
Sorry, that's what Daniel Jeremiah from NFL Network. He has us taking him at 30, Booth at 31 from Clemson. So,
well, I'm still having a hard time believing that he's going to be there because, I mean, this was just a couple weeks ago. I think someone asked me if they were like, "What happens if Booth makes that far?" I'm like, "Well, did he kill someone?" I'm like, I don't understand why he's going to be there.
I've had people, and everybody has to get this out of their head. I mean, I would love to get Sauce. And we have a trade up to get him. Sauce, after his performance at the combine, he's a top 5, top 10 player right now. I mean, we have to give up so much to get him. I don't think that's going to happen. And Stingley, people say, well, maybe he'll drop. Stingley's not going to drop down to get to 231. So like Jeremy here says Stingley or Sauce, which I don't think we're going to get either one of them. But Kobe Bryant, I do think is a guy that we can get. You know, like second round might be a reach. Third round, I definitely, if he's there, I'm taking Kobe Bryant. If Kobe Bryant is there at third round, I think that would be personally a steal for me because, again, like I said, I'm in all my Bearcat stuff today, so I'm a Bearcat homer. But I watched the man play, and I mean, he nobody threw to Sauce. They all threw at Kobe, and it wasn't like he was a chump, So he was a pretty good cornerback too. So if you can get him in the third round, I think that's my personal opinion. I think that's a steal.
Yeah, I think third round's about where I got him at. I'm not a Bearcat homer, I wouldn't say. I do like the Bearcats, but since this is so no bias here, I would not take him in the second round. I think it's a little early.
I'm not saying I would take him in the second round. I mean, at first I was like, yes, I would, but more I've thought about, I'm kind of like, I don't know. But if you can give him a third round, that to me, that's a no-brainer.
I did one today where so Elam and Booth were both gone, and I ended up taking Kenyon Green, and then the second round I took who did I end up taking? Was it Winfrey? I think Perion Winfrey.
Yeah,
I think I took him in the second, and then Kobe Bryant in the third. But I think ideally,
I would say a lot of the mock drafts I did. Now I haven't done one since I gotten back from vacation, but a lot of them I did. The cornerback Petrie from Baylor was there a lot. And he was the highest ranked one left on the board, So I'm not saying that's what they should do. I'm just saying somewhere I've picked it just to see what happens, and that's the one that keeps popping up.
Yeah, I'm not like, I don't want to say I don't like him. I think he's a solid player, but I feel like a lot of people have him in their mock drafts at 31 because they see he's the best corner available,
right,
on PFFs.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't take him at 31. And that's the thing for me is that the reason I think cornerback would work so perfectly at 31 because if you get Kaiir Elam at 31, that allows you don't have to worry about corner for a bit where there's that little lull in talent. Mm-hmm. So I think second round you could go for someone like Isaiah Likely, tight end, or you can get Perion Winfrey, maybe even Logan Hall if he's there. It just gives you a little more options because if you go corner in the first round, second round, there's a lot of good defensive tackles I would take in the second and third round as well. Matthew Butler from Tennessee, if he's there in the third, he's someone I would take. And then second round, there's a lot of good options as well. I think PFF will give you an F if you take Isaiah Likely in the second round, but I think that's about where you would need to take him.
Right.
So I think that's another good pick there. And then Jelani Woods from Virginia Tech, another tight end. They got him going like fifth or sixth round now. He had a 10 athletic score, so as a tight end. So I think you're going to be looking at second round for him as well.
And that's the thing with the way to position the Bengals to put themselves in, they can draft the best player available. I mean, in every round, they don't have to reach for it. So if the best player available isn't a cornerback and it's an offensive lineman or defensive lineman or whatever, they can take that. If they can get that guy at 31, they can get him, with or someone close to the same skill level in the second round. They're going to do that. So that's what's been great about where they're at. Now, my concern a little bit is now they addressed this like right before the season started last year when they traded for BJ Hill, but it's to get another 3-tech. Now I know Larry O, there's a possibility maybe he'll come back, but I think that's going to be, we'd be his last option because it'd probably be a 1-year prove-it deal again. If Larry O does not come back and we don't have another 3-tech, as BJ Hill is the only 3-tech on the squad. Who are the guys? I know you named some, but who are specifically as 3-tech? Who are some of the guys in the draft that could possibly be there? I mean, I would love Wyatt, but he's not going to be there from Georgia. He won't. I don't think he'll be there. That would be the guy I would love to get. Again, he's not going to be there. I got lots of guys I like to get that won't be there. And that's the thing when you get lower. It's like, who do you think will be there that they could possibly get first round, second round? Who are guys you like at 3-tech that the Bengals could possibly get?
Yeah, so first round, like I said, I think the only one, unless like someone like Wyatt would drop, I think the only one I would take would probably be DeMarvin Leal. I would take him at 31. Some people I've been seeing people saying Travis Jones. He's a nose tackle. I don't think they need. I had a tweet the other day. I don't think they should take DJ Reader's backup 31st overall. So he's one of those guys too where he can play 3-tech. but I think they need to get a true pass rushing 3 technique.
Right.
And he's a good run defender. He can defend the run as a 3 tech, but they need a pass rusher.
Right.
So I think that in the first round I would take to Marvin Leal. Second round you're looking at guys like Logan Hall from Houston. I like him a lot. I don't know if he would be there, but if he is, I think he'd be a great pick. And then an example, third round, Matthew Butler from Tennessee. He's a good example of a true pass rushing 3 technique.
Mm-hmm.
He's very athletic, get to the ball. He's not as great in the run defending game, but when you have BJ Hill, that kind of allows you to have somebody, and DJ Reader, that allows you to bring in somebody who's a true pass rusher as an interior defensive lineman. So that's going to help. And then name I mentioned earlier in the second round, if he's there, Perion Winfrey. I like him a lot. He's a little versatile, but I think he would be, when I think of him, I think 3 tech. And then you get to the late rounds, there's some guys that if they were to bring Ogunjobi back and they weren't able to get one of these 3 techs in the first 3 rounds, they can get some guys that, have a little potential. I'm probably going to butcher this name, but Irioma Uwozuriki from Iowa
Close
State.
enough. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. He's I'd say when you're looking at his true position, they have him as an edge rusher on PFF. He's more of a 5 technique as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's a pass rusher, I think. So if you have him at 3 tech, just somebody that can grow into that role. But ideally, they would bring Ogunjobi back on a 1-year deal and get someone like Matthew Butler in the third round and just, prepare for Ogunjobi to leave after 1 year and then get Butler ready right after him. And, regardless, whoever you take is going to play, even if Ogunjobi's back or not. So I think that it's safe to say that if you take one in the first 3 rounds, they're going to see the field plenty no matter what happens.
Right, exactly. Now, Richard Hamilton here has an interesting question. This is kind of like when people talk about moving Alton Tate. But he said if you're going to take a tight end, I'll just try Alex Pierce of UC at tight end. I don't see that. I think he's too small, in my opinion, and you got to put weight on it. I think Alex Pierce is going to be a pretty efficient wide receiver in the NFL. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, he's going to be a good receiver, and I wouldn't do anything with him at tight end. I doubt he would even want to move from receiver. You have to put on weight. I think he's just going to be a very talented receiver. I like him a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I can see him as like the New England Patriots wide receivers, Wes Welker and the other guys. I can't even think of their names right now. The other slot receivers or whatever that crushed it all the time. I could totally see him being a New England Patriot. I don't know why that would be. To me, that's for some reason that's where he's would end up here. Let's see here. Let's go Royal Flush Cherry here. So the Bengals only true pass rusher currently is Trey Hendrickson. The rest of our defense of line is full of run stoppers. We need a couple more pass rushers. So, and that's kind of what goes along the line of what you're saying. I think a lot of people are saying that. I think the Bengals are going to mostly draft defensive players in this draft. It's going to be the opposite of what they've done the last couple of years. The last couple of years, they went heavy free agency in defense, and they went heavy on the offense in the draft. And I think it's going to be opposite this year. We went heavy for the offensive line and tight end, but I think it's going to be a lot of defensive players in this draft.
Yeah, and they made a point there about how the Bengals, if you look at the roster right now, they don't have a lot of true pass rushers. Sam Hubbard's really good. He can rush the passer. He's more of a run stopper. So, Hendrickson would be the main one. But if you look at it, there's plenty of ways to fix this before the season starts. Bring Ogunjobi back on a 1-year deal. Now you got Ogunjobi and Hill out of the interior.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting Joseph Asai back.
Right.
And
I was about to say him.
Yeah, and I have huge faith in him. I think he's going to be an amazing player. You can't count on that though.
That's my point. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I think he's gonna be good, but we don't know enough to say, all right, we're good. We're good there with him. He'll take care of it. We're not there yet because we didn't see enough. Because who is the kid? Hodge. Remember Hodge, 44? I mean, he everybody was going nuts about him, including myself, in the preseason. And he never got on the field, and they ended up releasing him. So I'm not saying that's going to happen with Osai. They drafted him. I doubt they're going to release him. But I mean that until he actually proves it on a everyday basis on the field, the Bengals can't rely on that. But they also have Khalid Kareem too, so he's another one that they've brought back. I think they brought him back to be another edge for us too as well. Yeah,
and I think he's going to play a pretty decent part. I think the biggest issue is going to be interior pass rusher. So I think they could add maybe a vet, or their biggest, or they're going to have a lot of interior defensive line pass rush if they get Ogunjobi back and draft
Right.
one. Is what I meant to say.
Right.
But I think if they go, into free agency, they have. I think I saw 16 million around that today.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get a veteran edge rusher maybe. You can draft one in the middle rounds. I just think so. Joseph Ossai, I had him as my number one edge rusher in the draft. And then I think I switched him around to number 2. I forget. I think I had. I forget who I had at number 1. I think it was at Aziz. But so I had him. I mean, he was a top 3 pass rusher for me, and they got him in the 3rd round. So I think I'm as big of a believer in Joseph Ossai as anybody. But you just can't. Can't count on that to work out. And if it does work out, you need to make sure, or if you've taken the steps to make sure that you're not relying on that, then it's just a bonus. You can never have too many good pass rushers. So I think they need to get, ideally, if they don't get Ogunjobi, maybe go after a veteran edge rusher, and then just hope Osai's very good. Then you can kind of cut that edge rusher after 1 year, then give Ossai that role.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Rabbit here wants to know what's the recovery status on Ossai. As far I haven't heard much. I'm assuming he's good to go. I mean, I don't know. I haven't heard an update on him in months, to be honest.
As far as I know, he's going to be ready to go for this next season. So, yeah, we heard that last year as well, though, right before he got put on the season-ending IR. But I think it's probably looking pretty good. I haven't heard a lot in a little bit, but as far as I know, he's going to be ready to go.
Yeah. Now, was it just the knee injury? It was a meniscus tear, wasn't it? The cartilage tear.
So. Yeah.
So. Was there another injury, or was that just the only one he had? Because he completely tore it off the bone, is what I heard.
I think he had like another injury, but if I remember right, I might just be making this up.
Yeah, but I think there was something else too, but I can't remember myself.
If I remember right, the issue everyone thought was his shoulder. They thought his shoulder was messed up.
Okay.
I might be thinking of someone else. This happened to a Bengals player at some point, so I'm not totally making this up.
Blake, nobody's gonna be mad at us. It was a long season, and we're talking something that happened at the beginning of the year, so it was hard to.
I'm thinking it was Ossai though, where they had concerns about his shoulder or somewhere else, and then we found out it was his knee. So I'm thinking that's what it was there. I think he had a minor shoulder issue.
Foxy's saying it's his wrist.
Wrist. That might be it. It was a different body part than the knee. I remember.
Yeah, there was something else there that wasn't as bad, but it's mostly the knee is the reason they put him on IR because. And when I heard it was cartilage tear, I'm like, well, that's nothing. But then I think Ace and Zim had a doctor on there saying it was a complete tear off the bone or whatever, and that makes it a longer recovery. Not that he should fully recover it. It shouldn't be a problem at all. It just takes a while to recover from that because of the way it tore instead of, there was nothing left on the bone anyway. So, all right. So we got that. So, all right. You're talking about other guys that they could possibly sign. Is Kareem Hicks is from the Bears. Is that a guy you might consider, or you think the Bengals might consider?
I don't know if the Bengals would consider him. I think it would be a pretty solid deal just to get somebody like that. And it allows you to, see what happens with Ogunjobi. You don't have to force him out there, or not Ogunjobi, Ossai. But I still think the bigger, if I were to pick, I would pick Ogunjobi.
Oh, definitely. I'd take Larry O back in a heartbeat if he'd come, because it would just be plug and play. There's nothing. We know what he can do. It wouldn't be a big deal, and I'm not worried at all about his foot. I mean, he would be fine. So, and if the Bengals are going to sign him, then they know more than probably anybody because he broke his foot here,
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be worried about that at all. So let's get into I like to call it we have the varsity, which is the AFC, and we have the JV, which is the NFC, because everybody's coming to the AFC, and everybody seemed like they wanted to come to the AFC North, including Deshaun Watson, which was, in my opinion, surprising because, like I said, last week I was on vacation. and it didn't look like Deshaun Watson was going to go to the Browns. I thought it was going to be the Saints or the Falcons, and all of a sudden it's the Browns, and they got guaranteed $200 million or whatever it was. And now they have two quarterbacks with Baker Mayfield, and I'm hearing some rumors that, which I don't think this is going to happen, but Baker might go to the Squealers, which I can't see the Browns trading them to in division rival, unless they think Baker's that much of a pain in the ass, and he sent there to submarine the Squealers. But what's your thoughts on all these quarterbacks and all these players come to the AFC, and people are like, oh, it's going to be a gauntlet to go through it. It was a gauntlet, in my opinion, to go through the AFC before, because all the best quarterbacks were already over here, and the Bengals made it to the AFC Championship with a not very good offensive line. Now they have a very good offensive line. What are you scared? I mean, does any of this stuff that happened to you, has it scared you or shaken your confidence at all as being a Bengals fan?
I just want to tell everyone to relax. I'm like, not even that long ago. I mean, how many weeks? We watched Joe Burrow coming off an ACL tear, getting sacked 70 times, beat Patrick Mahomes twice, beat the Chiefs twice, lead the Bengals to a Super Bowl. It's Joe Burrow. A challenge I like to put out for Bengals fans that are getting concerned is I want you to go down the schedule and look how many games that you think Joe Burrow is not the best quarterback in that game. And, I mean, it's most of the games. Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in the game. And if you go down the Bengals roster now, he's going to have protection. Mixon's going to be able to run. Burrow has weapons. The Bengals defense is good. They got McPherson now, who's had an incredible season. So if you look down the schedule, yeah, there's some tough teams, but the Bengals have the best quarterback in mostly all the games. So exactly. With the team they have around Burrow too, if I'm a Bengals fan, I wouldn't be scared at all.
I mean, I'll just go back to my schedule prediction from last year, and I said 11-6, and I said that because most of the games we had the better quarterback. That's what you need in this age of football. If you have the better quarterback, you're going to win. Now, again, this is last year's schedule. That's not this year's schedule. But that's kind of along the same lines. And that's why everybody's trying like crazy to get the quarterback. That's why people are giving up all their draft picks, to get the quarterback. And that's why the Packers are paying Aaron Rodgers so much money, because he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. If you have that quarterback and your quarterback is better than the other team's quarterback, you're most likely going to win. Not every time, but most of the time you're going to win. So that's where, and we did, I said the Bengals, I say we, because I bleed orange, so I'm just saying we. The Bengals did this on the road. They went to Tennessee. They went to Arizona. They basically went on the road in the Super Bowl. They went to LA, went to their home field, and barely they were 45 seconds away from winning the Super Bowl with I hate to say a terrible offensive line, because there were times it was good, but not a very good offensive line. Blake, we have a top 10 offensive line right now. By the time the season rolls around, at the end of the season, it could be a top 5 O-line. That's how big a jump they made. So Jackpot Joey Burrow not only can make a 3-step drop, he'll be able to make a 5-step drop. Joe Mixon can actually run to the right. He can actually make his first cut after he gets past the offensive line. Those are things that these guys haven't been able to do, and they weren't able to do that, and they went to the Super Bowl. So, like I said, I'm not worried about it at all.
Yeah, and I think some of that from Bengals fans comes from, and I have the same mindset. It's the mindset of, if you're a lifelong, long-time Bengals fan, they were losing games they should have won, a lot of losing, a lot of missed playoff games, and it's like, the moment I knew that Burrow and this team was different was when they blew out the Ravens.
Yes,
they blew out the Ravens
in Baltimore.
Yeah, in Baltimore. Mm-hmm. They beat the Steelers twice. They won a playoff game. They went on the road in Tennessee and Kansas City and won those playoff games coming from behind against Kansas City. Mm-hmm. This is different. This is not like it. I think Bengals fans just need to retrain their minds a little bit. This is not the teams of old.
It's okay for us to be confident in our team. It's okay. They're going to back us up. They already did. So that's the difference. Like, so Bengal fans are probably like, well, we've done this before, and the carpets couldn't yanked out from under us, but not now. This team is different. It's a different mindset, different everything.
It's not Andy Dalton throwing to Cody Core. It's Joe Burrow throwing to Jamar Chase. Exactly. These are real like guys. These are great players. And I think it's a little hard just for some people to kind of get it through. Like, these are superstars, and
I
they're
always say
playing for the Bengals.
we got PTSD, man. I always say
Yeah.
that.
I mean, I went through it all the same up until that Ravens game. That was I remember where I was sitting. I remember being like, this is for real. Like, these guys are very good. And like, the Bengals have superstars.
Oh yeah. And the thing is, and Dan Horde said this on my show earlier this week. He goes talking about Jackpot Joey Burrow not be able to go out in public or whatever, and he said we haven't had these kind of superstars in Cincinnati since the Big Red Machine. And I technically was alive for that, but I was born in '75, so not really. But I grew up with Johnny Bench, Pete Rose, and I mean those are my heroes when I was a kid. And but he's right. That's where Jamar Chase, that's where T. Higgins, that's where Joe Burrow, that's where Joe Mixon, that's where Zach Taylor is. I mean, they are recognized in the city. They are superstars. They're recognized all over the country now. People know who these guys are, and they're cool, and people like them. You know, that's what's so cool about this.
Yeah, and I think one of the first things I remember saying going into this year, I think, was like, I looked at Joe Burrow's Instagram, millions of followers. Bengals have a celebrity at quarterback. It's like you go from Andy Dalton, good guy, nothing, no offense.
Right.
He wasn't like that. He just wore regular clothes, walked in. Burrow's flashy. He's coming in. He's got millions of followers. Everyone's excited to know what he's going to wear the next week. It's like an attraction. It's everyone wants to know what's going on with the Bengals, and it's like you're going to hear these national people, talk a little trash. It's just that's part of being good.
Bart Scott now has us in his top 5. Get the hell out of here. I can't stand the guy. Anyway, I didn't want to talk about him. That's all I'm going to say about him because he's an idiot. Let's get to Dusty Crofts here. 499 super chat. Appreciate it. He said there's a different angle here. Let's flash forward 10 years and find out all these big quarterback contracts don't equal to Super Bowls. Chiefs are already having cap issues. And that's true. And that's a thing that me and Santor were saying yesterday about the contracts that the Bengals are signing right now. They're smart contracts. They're only like 3 years at the most. So they're nice money, but they're not stupid money. So when we have Jackpot Joey Burrow come up, we have T. Higgins come up, we have Jamar Chase come up, there's a chance that we can keep all 3 of them. Now they're going to have to help us out a little bit, but that's the thing where the Bengals have got to, and I think they are thinking that far ahead already, is, the clock's ticking on these guys. These contracts are coming up, and you don't want to be Seattle, where they had to trade Russell Wilson because he had a huge contract. You don't want to be Kansas City, where they just traded Tyreek Hill. But honestly, I think it was a pretty smart trade because they got like 12 picks in the draft. So I think Kansas City's going to find some wide receivers, and I think they're going to be okay. But you don't want the Bengals to go through that, and I think the way they set their contracts up right now is pretty good.
Yeah, I'm going to say something that's probably going to get me booed a little bit here.
Boo! Sorry.
This is going to be a little unpopular. Everyone's going for the extend Jesse Bates. Jesse Bates is a great player, but I'm thinking ahead a little bit. I want to have Burrow, Chase, and Higgins together. Mm-hmm. And you can't guarantee that that's possible if you re-sign Jesse Bates to a huge contract. And just thinking ahead a little bit, you want to keep Jesse Bates back, but it's not the worst thing in the world if he doesn't sign a huge deal. And there's gonna come a time too where you're probably gonna have to let Tyler Boyd go, unfortunately, unless he wants to sign just a real little deal or something. Hopefully get Mixon on restructure, get him on less money somehow, and just I don't like talking about this now because we're coming into a season where
that's the reality we're in. That's where I'm trying to tell Bengals that you have to this is what championship teams do. This is what good teams do. You have to let good players go. You have to let fair players go. Like me personally, I love Joe Mixon. I think this is his last contract with the Bengals. I love Tyler Boyd. I think this is his last contract with the Bengals. Jesse Bates, I want them to re-sign him. I don't want him to be the highest paid safety in the league. I don't think he has to be. And I'm going to take something that James Rapine was saying on Locked on Bengals, where he thinks this whole contract thing is more on the agent trying to get Jesse Bates to be the highest paid safety in the league. I'm sorry. Jesse Bates did not have that good of a year this year. I mean, he didn't. Playoffs, he played great, but he didn't play like that during the regular season. He didn't play good enough to get paid as the highest paid safety in the league. Jesse Bates has said he doesn't want to be. So I'm kind of with you on that, and I think the Bengals are kind of locked in with Jesse Bates saying, look, this is the contract. You either take it or you leave it. And the thing is, I hate to say it, Jesse Bates is stuck here for 2 years. No matter what he does, he'll be a Bengal for 2 years. They can franchise tag him again next year. That's where I'm like, this agent, I think, is kind of screwing him. In my personal opinion, I think he's kind of screwing Jesse, trying to make him get as much money as the agent thinks he can get. But I don't think it's there for Jesse. I don't think it's there in the open market as much as this agent thinks it is.
No, not I'm not a huge believer in players taking a lot less money. I just don't think it happens that often. But I think it could come down to like what I would do is I'd go up to Jesse Bates and say, "You like Joe Burrow? You like Jamar Chase? You like T. Higgins? You want to play with these guys? Then you're probably gonna have to take a team friendlier deal, and that's as simple as it is."
To be honest, Blake, I think it's going to be close to what. Just I have no sources or anything. I'm thinking they're offering close to what the franchise tag is. Somewhere similar to that. It's probably what they're at. Well, just still ain't. That's still not bad money. It's still a raise, and it's still good money. That's personally where I think the Bengals are at. But I like I said, I have no inside source or anything like that. I'm just talking.
Yeah, and back to the quarterback contract thing. If you look at the Chiefs, was the example. The Chiefs didn't have to let Tyreek Hill go because of Mahomes' contract. They had to let Tyreek Hill go because they gave Frank Clark $14 million cap hit a year.
Mm-hmm.
And, Chris Jones, really good player. How much, I forget, he is a massive cap hit. It's not the quarterback contract. If you got a good quarterback, you have to pay it. It's making bad contracts with players that, if Frank Clark was a Myles Garrett type player, that's a heck of a deal, but he's not. You got to be smart with your contracts. I think the Bengals, the reason it hasn't been done is they kind of understand what's going to happen in a couple of years, and they don't want to run into a situation where they're losing Jamar Chase because they paid Jesse Bates a ton of money and then now he's not performing. So what I would like the Bengals to keep Jesse Bates around for a long time. I don't think it's going to be the worst thing in the world if he goes, because if you look at that offense, I want Jamar Chase and Burrow to be Bengals for life. So I think that if you have to let somebody like Bates walk to assure that happens, I'm not totally that's a good point too,
Yeah.
Tooney.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another good point. And I think the way that like Collins' contract is compared to like someone like Joe Tooney, absolute steal. That's gonna help That's gonna help you keep these guys instead of paying a guard that much money. You got a very good, probably elite right tackle for very little money, and that's not going to hurt you when it comes time to extend the rest of these guys.
Now, when Lael said in his press conference yesterday that it wasn't about the money, I completely believe that. I think he just wanted to come to Cincinnati. I think Frank Pollock, I think Joe Burrow, because he's making basically the same amount of money he was in Dallas. He didn't get a raise. I mean, I don't know if he lost any money, but it's from what everybody's reporting, it's just about the same amount of money. And for the Bengals to get him, and they played a little chicken. And I give Duke Tobin credit for this. All of us are freaking out, me included, going, I don't want him to hit the open market because we might not be able to afford him then, or we're not going to want to pay him then, But to his credit, Lael came to Cincinnati and he didn't leave. He was predetermined that he wanted to play here. And I think that's a big reason why that contract got done. And that, I guess that kind of goes back to Jesse Bates. It's like, do you want as much money? Which I will never fault an NFL player for trying to get as much money as you can. If that's the route you want to do and you can set your family up for life, I understand that, because NFL players, their careers are so short. And that's a decision that player has to make. So that's where Bates got to come in. Like, do you want to come in and do you want to play for the Bengals? Is it more important to play for the Bengals and with the guys you've been, blood, sweat, and tears with the last couple of years, and going to the Super Bowl and making another run at this thing and hopefully winning multiple Super Bowls? Or is it all about the money? And that's kind of where Jesse Bates is going to have to make that choice himself, I think.
Yeah, and that's exactly the question I'd pose to Jesse Bates if I were in those contract meetings. Obviously, wouldn't blame him at all if he signed a massive contract somewhere else. I mean, that's, for a lot of people, I mean, that's a life-changing amount of money.
They can get money to their grandkids. That's the grandkids' money. It's life-changing for your family, your kids. I mean, it's life-changing money. So that's why I'm not saying, I will never say anybody get as much money as you can, no matter what you do. Whatever job you are in, get as much money as you can get, because people say money doesn't make you happy, but It helps an awful lot. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and I think just the question I would be like is if you like playing with these guys, you're gonna have to take a little less money. It's just how it is. But if you want to sign a big paycheck, we don't blame you. So I think that's ultimately what's going to come down to.
Yeah, exactly. And like Ken said there with Collins, he said the attention Collins received from the fans didn't hurt either. He felt the love. Yeah, I mean, he felt the love right from the jump street when he got on the airplane. There was a Bengals fan on there, like, "You come here, you're gonna sign." Like, dude, yeah, that's one thing about this city and this fan base right now, and it has a lot to do with, like for my age, I'm older. I lived through the whole '90s. I lived through the '80s. I lived through the 5 straight playoffs. I lived through the Marvin Lewis years, never winning a playoff game. I lived through all that stuff. That's why I know how good this is, because I've seen the other side of it. I've seen where we're horrible. I've seen where we're on the cusp of being good and you miss it by that much. That's not this team. And that's why I think this fan base is so on fire for this team, because we know what we have. We've been dying to get something like this. And when a guy like La'el Collins comes into town and he's the missing piece and the fan base is just like, come here, come play with us. That's got to fire him up, just walking around the city going, holy crap, this is great. I want to play here.
Yeah, I think a lot of that plays into it. Bengals fans are crazy in a good way.
Yes.
It's like I live in Indiana. I don't live in Cincinnati. And if going down the main street in my town the week of the Super Bowl, there was business had signs, Super Bowl Burrow. There was flags on the main street. Right after the Bengals beat the Chiefs, I went to go pick up a pizza and on the main street. So I went down the main street. There was fireworks going off. There was cars honking. And, like if you went down, I didn't go, but people said if you went down Main Street during the game, there was nobody. And then as soon as the game ended, there's people honking. There was multiple fireworks going. This is in Indiana. This is Colts territory.
Right.
And I would say it's more Bengals territory, but it's still
Bengals
in
territory
Indiana.
now. Yeah.
It always was, but it's in Indiana. And like if that's happening out there, just imagine, how crazy it is just around everywhere. It was like, and I mean, like I said, I was in Indiana and it's going crazy like that. So Super Bowl would have just been ridiculous. That was
it was yeah. I mean, I'll just tell you this. When I've told a story on it before, but when we won the AFC Championship against the Chiefs, I got dropped off down at the Banks, and I was wearing my orange and black bib overalls and everything. I just like I normally, cause I was wearing it because every game I wore that we won, so I wasn't gonna stop wearing it. I didn't matter if I was going to the game or not. So I'm wearing that and I'm heading down to the Banks. And dude, people were around me, hugging me. I don't even know people. I don't even know these people. We're like, we're going to the Super Bowl. I'm like, I know, let's go. We're giving hugs. We're lighting up the cigars, and everybody's having a great time. It was awesome. I've never seen this city that happy and that fired up. And that's where, and I guess I'll roll this around to the Reds. Like normally, this time of year, everybody's fired up, excited about opening day. Opening day parade, which we're actually going to have, but it's not going to be the first game of the season. But anyway, we're not having opening day parade. It's a big party and yada, yada, yada. I don't feel that same energy as I normally do.
Mm-hmm.
I felt that energy last week about La'el Collins, and I was in Florida just from Bengals Twitter, just from people, the John and Kenwood taking a picture and then everybody photoshopping them, everywhere else. That this fan base is so fired up, and that's where I'll just roll to the Reds here. This is where I am hurt. As a Reds fan, I am hurt deeply for what they're doing and what Bob Castellini has done. 2 years ago, we had a World Series caliber team. No, we went 22 innings, didn't score anything, but he's done nothing to improve the team, and it's got even worse this year. And it's like, why do you do that when you see how on fire this city is for football? Don't you want to take advantage of that? It's like, all right, we're going to keep the party rolling. Let's go. The Reds are going to get a playoff run. Nobody's excited about it. Nobody.
Yeah, and just it's very easy to tell that around here, there's past week more people. It's March 24th. There's more people in this area that are talking about the draft and free agency for football than there are talking about the Reds season.
Yes.
And like in my friend group chats, normally this time of year we're talking about the Reds, seeing planning on which games to go to. We're talking about it's just draft, free agency, looking at the schedule next year.
Right.
It's like people are dying for the Bengals to come back next year, and it's like, I mean, the free agency I've never seen. I mean, I've only been like covering the team for 3 years, but I've been around for my whole life watching the Bengals. But for the last, I've never seen a free agency period this hyped up. Like people that I didn't even know, were that into the Bengals are saying, "You think we're gonna get Collins?" All this stuff, and I'm like, well,
like you even know football? I didn't know you watch football.
Yeah, it's the people that I didn't even think knew or cared or anything.
Right,
Like, can we get that guy? And it's like everyone's just eating up over it. It's like the new biggest thing, and I think going to the Super Bowl obviously helps that, but the fact that the Reds don't care about anybody, I think that adds to the football thing as well.
Right, and one thing I don't think I'll ever forget this, as long as I live. I never thought Adam Schefter would tweet this out, but when he tweeted out the very first signing that he knew of, and when the free agent period started, or the tampering period, legal tampering period started with Alex Kepka to the Cincinnati Bengals. That was the very first one he tweeted out. I never thought that would happen. I didn't, and it's a guard. We're all talking about getting. I'm like, holy crap! Right off the bat, the Bengals. I'm like, so they were out the bat and said, look, we're here. We are going to fix this thing. We're going to keep this momentum going. And like I said, it's just been unbelievable. And I'm excited. I cannot wait for the draft. And like I said, the draft for me, it's more interesting this year than it has been in the last couple of years because of what the Bengals have done. Because they fixed the offensive line. What are they going to do at third? Who's going to? It's more intriguing. Because last year is like, all right, if Chase is there, we're taking him. Which I mean, people said so. I was not. You and me are both on the Chase thing. So I was pretty sure they were going to take him. And obviously, year before that was Joe Burrow. This year, I don't know. That's what's so cool about the draft this year is you can try to. Well, okay, this guy drops. What happens? Like if Linebaugh drops, that to me that would be the most interesting one. If he actually drops to Cincinnati at 31, I think the Bengals will draft him. That changes things up for me. If they draft him, you put him at center and you kick Karras over to left guard because he can play. That's one thing great about Karras. You put him over there. And these are things that are going through my head. Yeah. And sure, you the same way. That's what's so cool about this draft. What do you, just real quick, since I brought that up, what do you think about that?
Actually, well, first thing, it's going to be very exciting just as someone who's real into the draft, just to not know who they're taking. But I think from sitting there watching the draft standpoint, we're going to have to sit there while every other team picks just to watch the Bengals pick during a commercial. So
I hope not.
I mean, I don't know. They went to the Super Bowl, but I'm very used to them picking during a commercial. So it's like a franchise-altering draft pickup for the Bengals, and it's a Geico commercial. Just reads across the bottom. Bengals select.
It'll be a progressive commercial of Baker Mayfield moving out of his house.
Yeah,
and Watson moving in.
Yeah,
I saw that meme last week. I thought that was one of the best ones I saw. Where he's handing the keys to the kid, and they had the Deshaun Watson's head on the kid. That was a good one. You talk about commercials, just brought that up. So, anyway, Blake, I appreciate you being on for like 48 minutes. Tell everybody about your Twitter, what article you got coming out, and everything else you would like to promote here.
Yeah, just Twitter at Blake Jewell NFL. Find any of my stuff at All Bengals. Pretty simple for now. So hoping I posted a podcast recently, but I'm hoping now that I actually have a microphone here, so maybe I can do those a little more. So
yeah, you sound a lot better with the microphone. I like it. I like it. You're starting to get a little bit more. I don't say professional because I'm not very professional at this. I don't know where I was going with it. I like the microphone. I'm
slowly upgrading.
There you go, upgrading. That's a better word for it. Yes. And I, as always, I appreciate you coming on, Blake.
We'll no problem.
Do it again.
Yep,
hopefully closer to the draft, because once you start getting your deeper dives into the draft, I definitely want to get you back on.
Yep, for sure. Anytime, man.
All right, brother. Who day?
See ya.
See ya. All right, guys. Go follow Blake. Like I said, it's Blake _NFL. I think that's what he said it was. Go follow him on Twitter. You can check him out at allbengals.com. He writes for them. He does a lot of good good work. He's very fun to follow on Twitter, especially he's full of all kinds of information that all of us Bengal fans love. So tomorrow, I'm not sure. It might be a rated R show, meaning Kieran might be on. I'm not sure. Working on that. I'll find out. But you got to find out tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. It's going to be fun. I used to do, like, back in the day when I first started doing this, I used to do Zeke of the Week. And I don't know for how many of you guys that still watch my show remember me doing that. And we used to do it every Friday, Zeke of the Week Friday. So I'm saying it now. If I forget, which it might happen, tell me tomorrow. If you guys got a Zeke of the Week, let's try to roll that thing back out. An old school thing I used to do a while ago. Zeke of the Week is somebody, if you don't know, who's ticked you off, irritated you in sports. And you just look at that dude going, man, that dude's a Zeke. That's your Zeke of the Week. It could be Baker Mayfield. It could be Deshaun Watson. It could be whoever you want. It could be Zeke Week tomorrow. Let me get to the Facebook groups that let me live stream. And as always, I appreciate every single one of them. They're Who Dey Nation, Who Dey Legion, Cincinnati Reds, riding third, heading for home, Bearcat Ruckus, Bearcat Country, the Ice Bar. You can follow me on all my social media platforms, all under Sports with Strawberry Ice on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Twitter handle is at Jeff A. Turnipole. TikTok is at Iceman90. If you're watching the show right now, please give me some thumbs up, some likes. Looks like I only got one like. I'd like to get some more. It just helps the algorithm out. If you could help me out there, I would greatly appreciate it. Like I said, I have over 2,000 people follow me on Twitter. If you're following me on Twitter and you have yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so. I have like 3,000 people or so that follow me on Facebook. If you're watching this on Facebook and you have yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so. Please go to the YouTube channel Sports with Strawberry Ice. Hit the subscription button, hit the bell for the notification. And every time I go live, you'll be notified. I'm trying to get to 2,000 subscribers by the time the football season rolls around. I'm at 1,536 subscribers. That is awesome. I appreciate the first person who subscribed to me to the newest person that subscribes to me. You guys are all awesome. You all my family, my berries. I love you guys. I'll be pulling a sound up later on tonight, putting it on the podcast. It's on BeanPod, Apple iTunes, Spotify, Google, Stitcher Play, pretty much anywhere you get your podcast. Please make sure you rate, like, and review. Give me a 5-star review. Leave a comment so more Cincinnati fans can find my podcast. Again, I would love to get to 1,000 downloads. I would, because then maybe I put some more commercials on there, or put commercials on there would be cool. I would love to do some ads on here if you guys are interested in sponsoring any part of my show, the Ice Cave, the banners, something in the middle of the show. Hit me up on email. It's at Gmail is jeffatrimple@gmail.com. Hit me up there if you're interested. I think that's everything. We'll have a show Friday. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to the draft. Baseball. Yay. And that's just sports, baby. See ya!
Let's go. Orange in the day, black in the night. Stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly. The beast is awake, orange, black, and white. Cause when the jungle come alive, who day we ignite and Cincinnati, we gon' rise and in the jungle, we unite and dripping orange and black and white. Who day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Wake up the beast, everything day is a feast. Time to bust it off the leash. In the jungle, dripping heat. Tigers strike the city streets. East side, stand up. West side, stand up. If you rapping, who they? Time to put your hands up. Bingo stripes, we in it. New day, new age, yeah, we get it. Cincinnati, jungle fitted. Who they in our house, we win it. Orange and black and white, we build it. Earn our stripes, you know we kill it. Bleed our colors,